This is a Galaxy S24 Ultra costing $1,200. This is a fake Galaxy S24 Ultra costing around $120, so a tenth of the price. Can it compare? Hey, what is up, YouTube? Welcome back to Clone Wars. So today we're gonna be comparing these two. Let's do it. And this is the format we'll be using on screen right here. But yeah, comment down below other things I should find clones of, and we can compare. Alright, unboxing the two side by side. Both of their boxes look very similar. Opening up with the Apple Watch, taking off the plastic wrap. If you have plastic wrap, it's fake. Looking at the sides, pretty much the same, except for the clone has that little dent. They're very, very similar. Like, looking at these two, it would be very hard to tell which one is fake and which one is real. Looks like the clone is in plastic wrap where the original is not. Opening up that. Alright, see what we have in here. Charging cable, startup manual. Okay, opening the real one, opening the fake one. Theirs has a little bag. Theirs has some marks on it already, and they have plastic wrap on the sides, which is not normal. Then you take off the top. It also came with a horribly installed screen protector. Taking off for the original. Oh yeah, booting them up. Okay, pause. I want you to guess right now which is the fake, which is the real. Leave it in the comments. First one to get it right, I'll send them a fake Apple Watch. Alright, so this is the fake, this is the real. So it looks like we don't have any IMEI number on the fake on the back glass. But it looks like this has a little bit different sheen to the glass to it. But overall, the cameras look very similar. The size, it mimics the buttons exactly. There's no 5G antenna band though right here on the clone. On the bottom, it's basically the same. Maybe the S Pen's slightly different. On the other side, no buttons on both. Just antenna band at the top. The top, it's like almost one-to-one. The display is slightly different. There's a little bit bigger bezels on the clone, and front-facing camera's a little bit bigger. But other than that, they're really, really similar. But let's get into the nitty-gritty details, and we can talk about every single difference I can find. Comparing the two side by side, looking at the back, the clone seems to have a slightly different shine on the back. And the gray looks slightly different as well. Also, there's no IMEI number on the bottom of the clone. The flash unit also looks different, but the cameras look very, very similar. I can only spot very small differences between them. The Samsung on the glass etching is also spot on. The metal on the sides is slightly less polished, and the buttons on the clones are slightly more wobbly than the originals and less clicky. There's also no 5G cellular part on the clone. The bottom looks almost exactly the same, but the clone is a little rougher on the polish. The S Pen shape on the clone is a little more rounded than the original. The antenna bands are slightly off for the clone. There's a little gap from the glass underneath the camera on the clone where the original is perfectly flush. The clone display is also much lower resolution and has a slight chin on the bottom. Also, the camera on the top looks a little weird with the screen surrounding. The clone S Pen is cheeks where the original feels much higher quality. The tip is also very bad on the clone. It's kind of a lot broader and it just doesn't slide well on the screen. The bottom clicker part of the S Pen is very wobbly for the clone. Alright, so let's take a quick peek at the UI. We can compare some differences here. So it looks like on the two, they do both have tap to awake. The clone doesn't do it as well, and it does not have an in-screen fingerprint reader where the original does. The clone doesn't have a ton of things to like have security on it, but overall look at them. They look pretty similar. You can definitely tell the screen is higher quality on the original than the clone, much higher quality. But like overall the UI is very, very similar to the original. It does seem to be running an older version of Android, where the original seems to be running that updated One UI. It has a bunch more functions. Other than that, they look pretty similar. Let's go look at the settings and see what version of Android we're running here. Looks like we're running Android version 14 and One UI 6.1. Where on the clone, we are running, it says One UI version 1.6 and Android 1.4. I don't know if that's actually true though. It's kind of hard to identify differences within the settings. One thing I want to check out is the S Pen. So looking at the S Pen side by side, this is the clone S Pen, and then this is the real S Pen right here. Getting the two out. They both do have S Pen animations, you see that? Let's go and let's make a note for both of them. Okay. So the original is obviously really good, and let's check the clone here. Oh freak, this is awful. Okay, so it does kind of work, but not really very well. So the S Pen definitely is much better on the original than the clone, but I mean it does have an S Pen. It does not, it's like the tip is a lot less fine, and so it's kind of more annoying. This one does have its sounds that come with it too, so that's really cool. Other than that, they're pretty similar when it comes to the software level. A lot more similar than the Apple clones because they're actually both running Android. Alright, so now we're going to set up the two side by side. On the right is the original, left is the fake.